Stomp landing. Feels good? We'll see.
Yeah, what are you teaching today?
Today we're going to talk about the heel stomp. Heel stomp? No, stomp landing.
Yeah, perfect. Rolling.
All right, Sean here, Shop Task YYC. Good to be back. So moving along with our topic of jumping, now talking about the stomp landing. So the first part we talked about the heel pop. So the heel pop to me is a great place to start because it's going to be setting you up for the stomp landing. Landing truly is more important than the actual jump. So focusing on the pop, setting you up for the landing, and that's what we're going to talk about now. So the stomp landing, this is the landing you want to aim for. Every time you jump, you want to stomp the landing. It has limitations, so we'll talk about using our edges on landings in the final part of this series. But right now we're going to talk about stomping it up. That's where we want to be. So first we'll start with a demonstration. Oh, and as I'm demonstrating across the rink this way, I'm going to be trying my best to pop off my heels and stomp the landing. Okay. Okay, cool. Felt pretty good. So the reason we do that heel pop first is, like I said, setting up for me the stomp. So the positioning that I'm taking in the air is my feet are slightly in front of me. You can imagine myself just being kind of sitting back, tilted slightly, and then as I'm landing, I'm coming forward and kind of into a sitting position and aiming for my knees to be over top of kind of the mid of my foot with my shoulders slightly ahead, and then I'm ready to absorb any impact with a nice bend of the knees, flex of the ankles. Okay, on the way back, what I'm going to add to my jump now is the toe push. It's going to give me a bit more height, hopefully make for some more satisfying stomps on the landing. Yeah, felt good, felt good. So a stomp landing, kind of you'll know it when you do it because it feels amazing. It's gonna be a really satisfying landing. You're gonna hear a nice sound, kind of a thwack as your wheels kind of kiss down onto the ground, and then kind of silence as you sit into that stomp position. So those felt really good. And as you're learning, kind of take those cues and you'll kind of know if you're on the right track. So there we saw the toe push, so getting a bit higher on the jumps. So the next part of our series, we're going to talk about that toe push. But you're going to notice when you're toe pushing now, talking about the landing, right? I'm going to have to be making a correction in the air where pushing off my toes and then having to put my foot out in front to prepare for the stomp landing. So makes it more technical, especially when it comes to the landing. And I'm sure we can all agree landing is as or more important than the jump itself. Okay. Thank you for watching. Oh, stay tuned. I want to look at some other skaters' landing techniques and look at some really nice stomp landings from other people that I've watched and learned from. Okay, I'm back. Back in the shop. Great to be back. Thank you for watching these videos. Been a really good response. Now, if you've watched the heel pop and now the stomp, you might be a little confused, right? This is a jumping tutorial after all, and we really haven't done much for jumping. Now, the reason being, my logic is this: more important than being able to jump super high is being able to land and land in a way that it's not doing damage to our body, number one, and number two, landing in a way that it's setting us up so we're ready for the next thing on our journey of skating. So if I jump off a curb, I don't want to be landing in a way that I'm out of control, that if a car is coming, I'm not ready to, stop or do whatever I need to. I want to be able to jump, land, and be ready immediately for the next thing. And that's why I focus so much on the stomp landing. Now I started with the heel pop, because the heel pop is a great way to teach yourself the proper positioning for that stomp landing. And the heel pop on its own is a lot of fun, and it's the perfect technique for getting over, small bumps or cracks, or doing little driveway bumps, these sorts of things. The heel pop is perfect for. The stomp, like I said, is going to do the least amount of jarring impact on our joints, and it's going to set us up for whatever else is in our way. Perfect. Now, studying one of my favorite skaters, Billy O'Neill's skating, I've pulled up a section here and I've slowed down a few things. This is a section from the Haitian Mag, about 2015. Really, really cool. Billy O'Neill is a skater from New York City, East Coast, tried and true. I remember back kind of late 90s, 97, 98, a friend of mine went to New York. He met Billy O'Neill before anyone knew who he was. And Billy O'Neill was shredding it up then. He was taking requests, in fact. My friend Justin's like, oh, try a zero spin fish brain. Billy O'Neill's like, you mean zero spin alley-oop fish brain? Getting technical with the names, that's kind of pointless to the story. But of course, he laces it. My friend had some cool photos of it. So I've known about Billy O'Neill for a long time. I knew about him through a friend before I ever saw him skate. But anyways, that's just an aside. So let's get right into it. Now this first drop is incredible. Think about how much downward momentum he has slamming into the ground. But what he does is he gets his feet slightly out in front of him, ready for the stomp, gets his butt down low, and he actually uses his outside edges slightly to help with that massive force that's coming down. And we'll talk about those edge landings in a few videos as we continue with this jumping tutorial. Nice. That's a misfit. There we go, stick 540 over the rail. So these landings, he's really dialing them in. You can see every time he's secure in his landing. You don't see a lot of wasted movement. Now this is incredible. From the second angle here, we just see just the most beautiful landing. Look at that landing. I slow it down here so we can watch it again. Boom, and then watch. Feet are out in front, right, deep knee bend, butt comes down nice and low, keeps his head up. Perfect stomp landing. And yes, he has good reason to be celebrating a trick like that. Whew, aggressive skating is painful. These guys that do it at a high, here's a perfect example of how when you stomp the landing, you're perfectly set up. So he grinds the rail, lands in that stomp, and he's ready for the next thing, which was ducking under the rail, ready to go. This is a really nice one here too, and you're gonna notice more of a scissor on this landing because he's on a very steep incline. Widening your base on an incline like that with a scissor is gonna make for a much easier landing. Another beautiful landing. There, right, a little slight kind of half swizzle on that one. And a big 180. Now, one thing about jumping and landing too is I've always said landing backwards is easier than landing forwards. So that's something else we're going to get into as well, as jumping and landing backwards. But, focusing on the heel pop and then the stomp like we've talked about so far, those same principles are going to apply to when we land backwards. We'll just be using our toes more than our heels and a few small subtle differences that we'll get to. Amazing. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the section. So thank you so much again for all the support. I've been, testing out these teaching techniques that I'm kind of sharing with you, and I'm learning a lot. So I'm not so sure that I can say this is a complete, my complete thought process when it comes to jumping. There'll be some revisions as we move forward. But if you're trying these things out, please share with me your progress. And if you have questions, let me know. Each question truly helps me better understand what I'm trying to present. So thank you again for watching. Namaste. So stay tuned. The next video in the series is going to be that toe push. And this is really going to help get some big jumps for clearing obstacles that might be in your way. Thank you for watching.